Hello everyone, thank you so much for joining in. Welcome to my channel English for All by Archana Soon. In my last video, I have talked about 7 mental blocks that do not allow us to talk in English, or they do not even allow us to start learning English. If you haven't checked that video, I am going to put the link in the description below. Please visit that video as well. And in this video, I am going to tell you about some of the most effective techniques to improve your vocabulary in English language tremendously. Now, when I talk about vocabulary, what do you exactly understand by the word? Vocabulary is nothing but basic fundamental knowledge of words in a particular language. The more words you know, the better speaker you are of that particular language. It is as simple as that. Now, when it comes to English language, whenever we are trying to improve our vocabulary, there are three main blocks that come in our way. And those three main blocks are pronunciation, meaning, and the context in which the words have to be used. Now, let me try to explicate that with the help of an example. Let us try to look at this word. All right. Okay, so you can see the spelling. So the first thing that is intimidating for us, if we don't know the meaning already, is this pronunciation. How exactly to pronounce this word, right? The second question that comes to our mind is that what exactly is the meaning of this word? And then comes the most important question, and that is the context in which the word has to be used. Now, this word is pronounced as clairvoyant. All right, clairvoyant. And it means a person who is perceptible enough, a person who can already understand what is going to happen in the times to come. So a person with good sense of wisdom, in very simple words, that is how this word can be used. Now, I have already told you that these are the three main blocks, and the first block that I talked about was the pronunciation. Now, let us start by talking about the 5 major tips to improve this problem. Now, you must be wondering that if I'm talking about vocabulary, why did I start with talking about pronunciation? Let me tell you why. Because pronunciation is something that is going to help us the newly learnt words effectively and confidently. Alright, it is very important for all of us to actually work on the pronunciation. Most of the times what happen is कि कोई भी इंसान एक नया वर्ड लर्न कर लेता है और उसको वहीं पर यूज़ करना स्टार्ट कर देता है बहुत ही कॉन्फिडेंटली, बट दे डोंट इवन नो हाउ टू प्रोनाउंस इट प्रॉपरली, सो इट ओनली रिजल्ट्स इन एम्बैरेसमेंट. The person whom you are talking to will not be able to understand what you are trying to say. And if the listener has to ask you to repeat yourself again and again, then probably it is not an ideal state of being. This is not what you aimed at, right? So it is very important for all of you that whenever you learn any new word in English, make sure that you pay attention to the pronunciation of the word as well. Alright, you can see that I have written some example that there is a word called peel and then there is a word called pill. Alright, so peel means chilka, pill means goli, right? Another example that I have written is keen and kin. Keen means extremely interested in something, like keen interest in jogging, like extreme, intense, immense interest in that activity. And kin means our relatives. So if we know the pronunciation well, the other person, the person whom we are talking to, will not have any difficulty in understanding the word that we are trying to use. So that is actually my tip number 1 to improve your vocabulary. That when you come across a new word, do find the meaning, of course, but do not ignore the pronunciation, because this is something that a lot of people do, and that is why I felt it is important to talk about it. Alright, now guys, my second pointer is you should always try to make as many words as you can from the single word that you have managed to find. Now, English is not difficult at all, and English vocabulary is nothing difficult to get a mastery on. What happens is that all the words are almost same. They are just sandwiched by certain prefix or suffix most of the times. All right. So that is something that I want you to look at in my third pointer. But first of all, let us look at this. There is one word called love, and then multiple words come out of that, like lovely, loving, lovingly, unloved, and beloved. Right? So if you learn any new word in English language, try to multiply your knowledge of the same word by learning as many words as are related to that word. That is also going to help you in enhancing your vocabulary and learning 5 to 6 words wherein you intended to learn only one. So that is also going to be a win-win situation for us. Point number 3. Point number three is about gaining our proficiency in the knowledge of suffix and prefixes. In Hindi language we call them उपसर्ग and प्रत्यय, right? So prefix जो होते हैं किसी word के आगे लग के उसकी meaning को change कर देते हैं. For example, if I say a simple word like pleasant, and if I put un in front of it, then it becomes unpleasant. That becomes the antonym of the word pleasant, right? And if I put ly at the end of the word, it becomes unpleasantly. So you see, the single word pleasant is being used in multiple ways, right? So you have to understand and you have to get mastery on these two concepts of prefix and suffix if you want to get mastery in the vocabulary. There are some of the examples as you can see. The green ones are either suffix or prefixes, and the purple ones are the root words. So you will see that you probably know the meaning of the root words already, but when they are put together, they begin to mean something else altogether. If you are able to identify the root words, then you can easily understand the words that you probably have never come across earlier, right? For example, let us look at the words like disagreeable. If I say that person has a disagreeable personality, what I'm trying to say is that this particular person is not very pleasant. This person is not somebody whom I would like to spend my time with. This person does not give me a positive vibe, right? So you are able to understand the meaning just because you know the meaning of agree, and then I put dis. That means I'm talking about the opposite impact of the root word. So this is what you need to notice when you come across any new word. Same applies to word like disillusion or a word like impeccable. So impeccable is nothing but the word peck is sandwiched between in and able. So if you know that peck has got its root in Latin language that has got to do with mistake or flaw. So impeccable means flawless. In order to understand the meaning of the entire word, it is important for you to know the meaning of the root word. And same applies to all other examples as well. You can quickly throw a glance. Alright. Okay. Now coming to my fourth pointer. Whenever somebody wants to learn English language and they want to enhance their vocabulary, what they tell me is that, ma'am, I have written so many words in my diary, in my register, but still I'm not able to, use them when they have to be used. It happens because you're not probably aiming at the right kind of words. If you effectively wish to improve your vocabulary and if you want to sound like a native speaker, you need to get good hold on phrases, idioms, and proverbs. And this does not apply only to the learning of English language, but any language per se. Okay, for example, rather than saying that it's very difficult for me, you can simply say that it's a hard nut to crack. Or if you want to say that it's a very easy task for me, you can say something like it's a cakewalk for me, right? So just by replacing the ordinary words with some other ordinary words put together to bring out an extraordinary meaning, you can sound more intelligent, more fluent, and more effective in the language. So try to use as many phrases, as many idioms, and as many proverbs that you can. I have written few. You can have a look at them. Yes, and I will give you one bonus tip here. What you can do is that you will probably ask me that how do I know where to start from, because phrases, idioms, and proverbs in themselves are like a big vast ocean. So what you should try to do is that you should try to pick one topic for 1 week. For example, for 1 week thoroughly just try to read articles about or read idioms or phrases about only travel and note them down, and then try to use them in a context when you're talking about traveling with someone. Okay, similarly, take topic of entertainment and then try to use the idioms related to that topic when you're talking to somebody. So this is how you can actually improve your vocabulary, by not focusing on singular words, but rather than shifting your attention on idioms, phrases, and proverbs that are very, very effective in sounding like a native speaker, easy to learn. And the most amazing part about this whole concept of idioms and phrases is that even if the listener does not know the meaning, even if he or she has never come across this idiom, he will be able to understand the reference. For example, if I say, you know what guys, life is not always rainbows and sunshines, there are darker days as well, you will be able to understand. But what I'm trying to say is that हर दिन एक जैसा नहीं होता है, जिंदगी हमेशा ही अच्छी नहीं होती है, उतार चढ़ाव हमेशा रहते हैं. So I tried to beautifully, compartmentalize this emotion by phrasing it like this, that life is not always rainbows and sunshines. There are so many more examples like that that you can probably Google, or probably you can learn them from some expert who can actually teach you these things in detail. Google is there, or and I am here, of course. English for All is here to help you with that. Last, but definitely not the least, is practice. What do I mean by that? Whenever you learn a new word, you use it probably for 1 week entirely, but you do not use that word continuously. And that is how it just gets evaporated from your psyche. And it is very natural thing to happen. What you should rather be focusing upon is that whenever you pick any new word, for example, today if I teach you one word, obnoxious, this word means unpleasant. So you have to make 3 sentences then and there with that word. Try to associate a person's identity. Who is that person whom you find obnoxious? Okay, or not obnoxious. So try to make sentences related to that word then and there. And that is what that is going to help you to remember that word for a longer duration of time. If any one of you have a problem in spelling that word, let me do that for you very quickly. So obnoxious is spelled as Obnoxious. So here is the spelling. Okay. So guys, these were the real quick tips on significantly improving your vocabulary. I have so many more tips, and if you want I can come up with part 2 as well, but I deliberately don't want to make this video into a lengthy saga. So I'm trying to just culminate it here. Try to use these tips quickly. I will quickly just give you a revision that focus on the pronunciation of the words. The second tip was try to know the root word. The third tip was that try to focus on learning prefix and suffix if you really want to enhance your vocabulary. The fourth tip was to focus on idioms, phrases, and proverbs rather than singularly concentrating your attention towards singular words. And fifth, last but definitely not the least, is use the words learned then and there so that they are going to remain in your psyche for a long duration of time. Try to use these tips. If you have any other tips, you can share that in the comment section below. Also guys, I want to tell you that I have a Facebook page and an Instagram page by the name English for All. I am going to put the link in the description below, so you can find the link, you can follow the pages, and you can learn vocabulary from my pages as well. Thank you so much. Stay tuned for the next video, which is going to be about how can you actually improve your reading skills, and you can actually finally love with the whole idea of reading. The video's content is already ready. I just have to prepare it and present it in front of you in a more aesthetic way. So till then, bye bye. Thank you once again.